Good morning. I am not Tim Briner, as it says in your bulletin today. Sorry to disappoint. My name is Laura Grimm, and I will be your worship associate this morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Wayne County. We are a diverse congregation that welcomes you as you are, regardless of your age, ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, economic status, or physical ability. We come together to seek deeper meaning and understanding from each other and from the world around us. Your presence here today is a gift that brings us closer to that understanding. We are an active community that lives its values beyond the hours of Sunday service, and I'd like to call your attention to the following. Join us today in the Humanist meeting, which is in the large group room at the end of the hallway, to hear Phil Grimm share a presentation about the Wayne County Park District. Also, our fall campfire is going to take place Saturday, October 19th, starting at 6:45. It's going to be in the back parking lot. We'll have fire, we'll have s'mores, we'll have fun. And this year, the membership committee is also supplying pumpkins and paint. So let's see how creative we can get with our pumpkins. Please bring a lawn chair and anything else that helps with fun and comfort. Please take a look at your order of service for more information regarding events and activities taking place at the UUFWC. If you'd like to find out more about our activities, please feel free to speak with Karen Skubik, our membership coordinator.
Thank you, Laura, and it's great to see everybody. I've been away for a couple of weeks visiting family, and now it's nice to be back with this family. It's always wonderful to see all your faces, and hi to everybody online. Good to see you all. I know Joe is recuperating from back surgery, and Barb said he's up there, so special hi to Joe. When people come for the first time, or maybe the second, we give them a visitor packet, and in the visitor packet is a visitor information card, and on it, people can check what you're interested in about children's religious education, music, etc. But one thing that is often clicked is social justice, social action, and that's in our vision statement about our commitment to social and environmental justice. And I'm bringing that up today just because I know that we have a number of people that instead of coming here today, that we have a senator coming through town for a little bit of a rally. And I know some folks would be here if that wasn't going on. So it's nice to see people involved in political issues and paying attention to what's going on in the world, even if it sometimes means they can't be here. I will be in the back of the sanctuary after the service if our visitors here today would like to talk about any of these things that they're interested in, whether it's fun and fellowship or learning more about UUism or whatever. But it's great to have you all here, and it's good to be back.
Oh, good morning, friends. Good morning. I do want to remind folks, I do know that there is a senator in town, but just to remember that we are a nonpartisan group, that we support all people who act in love. So just kind of want to bring that up real quick. So, couple of things. You'll notice that our chancel is a little extra full today. We have two congregants, Cherrill, Wertz, and Steve Berg, who are on our chancel today. And they're part of our lay pastoral care team. How many of you know what lay pastoral care is? All right, we got a good majority. How many of you know how important it is? There were a few of you, I hope you two raised your hands. There are a few of you who I know actually really, really know, because you've received it. And there are a few of you who I know actually really, really know because you've given it. But one of the things that we have to remember in being part of a community is the love and support we give each other. And that is what I want this month to be about. How many of you are a little anxious because there's something coming up in 4 weeks? Yeah, 2 hands, Joe, definitely. You have right to be anxious. There is a lot of stuff going on that is worrying on many, many levels. And part of being in community is being able to have a place to put some of that stuff down. So I want to make one announcement while I'm up here. Starting this Wednesday, for the next 4 or 5 Wednesdays through post-election day, from 5:30 to 7 on Wednesday, I'm going to be in this space. And I'm going to have some candles lit, I'm going to have some soft music, and we're going to have some chairs in a circle. And it's going to be a place where if you want to talk about why you're anxious, without getting political, I do not want to hear a blazon of what you do and don't like about a candidate, but maybe what your worries are about. I want to have that listening space here. And if you just want to say, I just want to stop and just breathe and not talk about this, we'll provide some quiet for you. But I want to do that because there is a lot going on, and we need each other in these times. That is why we are talking about listening today. And I have one last thing. We in Worcester are getting a warming shelter together, right? When we talk about justice issues, when we talk about putting our faith into action, this warming shelter and this home or day center for folks is something that our community really, really needs, and we're starting to get involved with that, and the center needs volunteers. Barb Moore is doing a lot of work to try to make this. Barb, are you okay raising your hand? If you have questions about it, please ask her, but we need people to be there to help out. You want to talk about the power of listening? You want to talk about the power of presence? This is a group of people who do not have that luxury of being listened to, who do not have the luxury of being seen as human by a lot of people. And this is an opportunity to give them the humanity they deserve. Please talk to Barb. Please see about volunteering. It's so important to our faith and to our world and to our city. Oh, was that a sermon? I'm sorry. That's a little early. Welcome. It's a beautiful morning. The sky is blue. You have chosen to come this morning to put your worries down, to be held in love and community. Thank you for spending your time here. Please put your cell phones into worship mode. Open your hearts, open your minds, and join us now for a time of worship.
Our chalice lighting this morning is If I Can Stop One Heart from Breaking by Emily Dickinson. If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life the aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin onto his nest again, I shall not live in vain. Now let us rise in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, What a Wondrous Love Is This. It's in the gray hymnal, number 18.
Good morning. Could I have any children or youth folks or anyone who wants to get closer to the story come on up and join me on the chancel? How are you? Good morning. Come on up. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad you're all here. Good morning. All right. Good morning. Would you like to see what's in the Wonder Box today? Okay, let's see what we have in there today. Uh-oh, it was unlocked. A stick and a feather. What in the world? A stick and a feather. You're worried about germs on the feathers? So I can tell you this is from my own duck. And I personally inspected him to be disease-free. So this feather is good to go. All right. Is that what you're doing back there? So this story is a Native American tale, and it is called The Talking Stick, and it's a retelling of a Sioux legend. And for this story, I need someone who can make a good crow, like caw-caw, caw-caw. I had a feeling you could. Let's give it a try. Caw-caw, caw-caw. Perfect. Okay. And I also need a magpie. I don't know about you, I didn't know what sound a magpie made, but I have learned it says cack, cack. Do I have anyone willing to do the cack, cack? You'll be the cack, cack. Try it. Cack, cack. Perfect. Okay. So when I stick this at you, you're going to say caw-caw, caw-caw, cack, cack. Okay? Sound good? All right. Now I want to warn you, I'm going to be looking at my paper more today than I usually do because this is a sacred Native American story. And I really want to make sure I get all the words just right so that I'm honoring the story. So if I'm looking at my paper more than usual, I apologize. This story was given to the Native people many winters ago when it was time for all of the young mothers in the village to go out to gather fruit and berries. The old grandmothers, whose legs couldn't walk quite as quickly, were left to care for the young children of the village. The young mothers honored the grandmothers by giving them this great responsibility. It was an honor. It is believed that young children have many dreams and visions to collect before they are grown. With the grandmothers close by, all the children took naps in the warmth of a darkened lodge before the sun had traveled his full path each day. And on one of these days, while the young children were sleeping, Crow and Magpie, get ready, two noisy winged ones. What do you think I mean by winged ones?
Flying feathers.
Flying animals, birds, feathered animals. They were having a terrible argument outside of the lodge while the children were sleeping.
Caw, caw, caw.
Screamed Crow.
Cat, cat.
Ah, yelled Magpie. They were both speaking at once. Do it together.
Cat, cat.
And they could not hear each other's point of view on the subject of which tree belonged to which bird. One of the grandmothers went to quiet the voices outside so they wouldn't wake the children. She tried to scare those birds away, but when she could not get the attention of the screaming crow
Cuckoo, cuckoo.
or the yelling magpie,
Cat, cat.
she called on Eagle for help. Eagle, the great winged one, was a sacred bird for both the native people and all of the other animals on Earth. I'm wondering about that word sacred. Anyone have an idea how you might explain what that word means, sacred? Do you have an idea? What do you think?
Maybe she could ask her to stop.
Oh, you're thinking of some ideas to get the birds to quit? We are getting to that, for sure. So the word sacred, another word for it could be holy, or something used for worship, or something very special to a culture. Okay, so the eagle, very sacred bird in native cultures. He was also full of wisdom, and everyone looked to him to help with their problems. "Oh, Brother Eagle," said the grandmother, "can you chase off these two noisy ones so our children can dream?" And with a mighty flap of his wings, Eagle sailed toward the noisy pair. He gave a call of warning to Crow and Magpie as he came close. But they were so busy fighting, they did not even hear him.
Cuckoo, cuckoo. Cat, cat.
Yeah, they couldn't even hear the eagle. When Eagle saw this, he yelled louder and came closer, and that is when it happened. Caw-caw! Oh, your part. Caw-caw.
Caw, caw, caw.
Sorry, I took your part. Crow screamed as he flapped his wings in the air so hard he nearly fell off his perch.
Cat, cat.
Yelled Magpie as his wings flapped up a storm, and suddenly they both realized that they had flapped their wings so hard without looking at what they were doing. They hit one of Eagle's wings. What is worse is that one of the sacred feathers from Eagle, not Kelly's duck, from Eagle, fell out and landed on a small branch. Suspended above Mother Earth, the branch was still in the tree, like this. It was a great offense to touch Eagle, much less to cause one of his feathers to come off. So Magpie spoke to Eagle. "Oh, Brother Eagle," Magpie said, "we did not hear that you were so near. I am truly sorry for the injury I caused you." Now Crow was surprised to hear such an honorable thing come from Magpie, because so far they have not been getting along. He spoke to Eagle with such dignity. "I have been a naughty bird, but Brother Eagle, I think this may be the worst thing I've ever done in many moons. Do you feel terrible, Crow?"
Caw, caw, caw.
Yes. Crow and Magpie both went to retrieve Eagle's feather, and their eyes met, and with no words at all, they both knew that this mistake would not have happened if they hadn't been fighting. Magpie took the feather in his beak and spoke. "I am ashamed, Brother Eagle, that my loud talk and harsh words were more important to me than solving our problems." Crow took the feather from Magpie and said, "We have disturbed the two-legged children sleeping, and we've torn a feather from your sacred wing, and now we return it to you with a request of please forgive us." Eagle had watched all this with his wise eyes and an open heart. He knew the lesson of listening had been learned by his little brother birds. And he saw that the grandmother looked on with learning eyes as well. And so he said to crow and magpie, "Give my feather and the branch it rests on to grandmother. And grandmother, connect the feather to this sacred branch. Decorate it with beads and leather and fur to make it look even more beautiful. Keep it in your lodge and teach others to create this fine-looking stick." I wanted to show you what a real talking stick looks like. They can look different in lots of different ways, but here is one. So it has real eagle feathers and special beading and leather. It's very beautiful. Eagle said, "We call this sacred item a talking stick. Tell all the people that when they come together at any gathering where ears might be shut," what do you think that means, where ears might be shut? Do you think their ears really closed? Thank you, Juan. What did you say again?
Not listening.
Not listening. So their ears might be shut, people that are not listening. To bring out the talking stick and let only the holder use it. Only the holder speak when they're using it. Pass the stick until all have spoken. Then a vote can be taken, and the side who gathers the most votes will make the final decision, said Eagle. Grandmother gathered up the branch and the feather. She was very honored to have learned this lesson. And every grandmother from that day on has told this story and helped the young ones to make talking sticks. So that is the story of the talking stick. Now I am wondering if you've ever used an object before to take turns talking with someone. Have you ever done that at school? Or I know you have, okay. Yeah, that's something that we do at Montessori schools. Have you done that where you take turns talking? I want to tell you a funny thing. You don't have to use a talking stick. It can be anything. Sometimes it might be something that isn't even so sacred, but it does help to hold something. When my children were little and they were fighting, we would pick up whatever was closest and we would say, "Time for a peace talk." And they would pick something up, and one day it was a Barbie, and it was the Peace Barbie. And whoever was holding the Peace Barbie got to do the talking. One day it was clean underpants from the laundry basket. And we held the clean peace underpants and took turns talking. So today in class, some of you will be making some peace stones to practice talking, but we won't be making talking sticks. Does anyone know why? It sounds pretty cool. What do you think?
You could just break it if you don't like it.
Okay, what do you think, Hawthorne? You stretching? Okay, anybody else? Any thoughts on why we will not be making talking sticks? Okay, so it's a sacred thing that is done by people who are Native American. And some of us may have some Native American heritage, but us as a group, we are not a Native American group. So that's not something we would make because it's sacred to them. Okay, all right, thank you so much for listening to that story. I know it was a little bit long, but you all did a great job listening. All right. And now we will sing the children off to RE classes.
Our faith is centered on the belief that we can make this world a better place for all who dwell in it. In order to realize that vision, we need both the motivation and the means. Your donation helps the community put its faith into action by supporting our programs and our facilities. This morning and throughout the month of October, all donations collected that are not specifically marked otherwise will be split with Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is a nonprofit organization that provides health care and education surrounding women's reproductive rights. The offering will now be collected and gratefully received. Please join me in this unison reading as we dedicate our offering. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts with us, for we are enriched by their giving. Let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others.
Amen. Brings up a good point. Because when we talk, when we demand attention, when we have that talking stick, there's a lot of power in that. It commands attention. But how many of you know the power of not having the talking stick? How many of you understand the power of being the listener? To having the talking stick for a lot of people is a great escape because it's all about you. Because you get to talk about your position. You get to talk about what's important to you. And we all need an opportunity to get that stick. And the power is in the listening. How many of you want to be seen for who you are? How many of you want to be able to be your true and genuine self and be comfortable with other people who accept you as you are? None of you are raising your hand, but I'm assuming that the vibe is that you're all there. That's why we're here. Pastoral care and lay pastoral care is all about allowing people the moment to be their full selves. How many of you are perfect? Chris, thank you. And there are times in our lives where we feel vulnerable, where we feel less than, where we feel troubled, where we feel frustrated, when we feel we are not our best selves. Because we're human. And we can't get through that alone. Pastoral care is a service offered by this congregation that I utilize, that I do, that Cherrill is part of our pastoral care team. Cherrill is a beautiful listener and a wonderful, peaceful soul. Steve, another wonderful listener in our congregation who allows people to be themselves without judgment. Gail has done this work before. Gail is a beautiful listener. I do this work with individuals as well. The importance of this is that as a community, we need each other to support when we are in our low points. It's not an opportunity to replace therapy. Do not replace your therapist with any of us. Please. We all need our therapists. But it's an opportunity for you to share part of yourself. Part of yourself that needs a little support with people who will love you. Our lay pastoral team does a lot of beautiful work. And I don't think people really fully realize the depths that they go to. So I wanted to give them an opportunity to shine. One of the members of our lay pastoral care team, Sue Gross, is not able to be here today. Sue had knee surgery on Tuesday. Sue sent me a text message. I am doing great. I am doing wonderful. Thank you for the cards. Thank you for the food. And I will add to that, thank you for seeing her in a moment when she's vulnerable. Thank you for giving her care. And it did not excuse Sue from being a part of this service. Sue is still going to be a part of this service. Yes, no, Sue, I gave Sue permission to not watch, but she's still a part of the service. I have a video presentation from Sue. And then I'm going to invite Cherrill and Steve to speak. And then I am going to give you an opportunity to have pastoral care. And I'll go into that in a moment. But first, I would like to bring Sue up to the chancel.
Hi, I'm Sue Gross, and I'm part of the Pastoral Care team here at the UU. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit today about listening. Listening is the basis of all common understanding. It's basic to a relationship. After all, what's the most common complaint in relationships? He or she never listens to me. It's the way we all learn from each other. While listening, try not to think of your response. Just be in the moment and be a good listener. Active listening is more than just hearing the words. It's about understanding the message behind them. Active listening involves paying full attention, acknowledging their message, and responding thoughtfully. When we communicate, it's crucial to put ourselves in the other person's shoes. Empathy allows us to connect on a deeper level, making the other person feel understood and respected. Communication isn't just about words. Nonverbal cues like eye contact, body language, and facial expressions can play a significant role in conveying our message and understanding each other, and silence is okay. Reflecting back what you've heard helps to clarify any misunderstandings, and it does help improve interactions. It's important to be honest yet kind with your feedback. Being open to different perspectives enriches our conversations. It allows us to learn from others and fosters a better environment. And I found a quote by Senator Doug Larson. "Wisdom is the reward you get for a lifetime of listening when you'd have preferred to talk." So to anyone here who may need a listening ear, we are here for you. We know how precious time is and appreciate when all of us work together for that gift of time. People tell stories, and the story may unfold in unexpected ways, like a novel or a movie. There are twists and turns in the plot, and the ways of character development makes each story unique. We are here to listen to your story, whatever you have to say, without judgment or criticism. Thank you very much.
I'm Cherrill Wertz, and I am part of the Pastoral Care team. I've worked in service organizations, helping organizations my whole life. I've worked in medical offices as a medical assistant, and then I went back to school to become a mental health counselor. When I retired, I worked part-time at NAMI, which is with people with mental disabilities, and also with hospice. So it's no wonder I'm on the Pastoral Care team. It just fits, it feels right. It would be really easy to say that being on the team is simply visiting people who can't come to the fellowship, but it is much more than that. As Sue so clearly said, listening plays a central role. And I believe empathy is also an important part of helping. Having empathy is understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and really being with the other person. It's not an innate trait, and I'm not sure how you learn it, but it is a learned skill. I'm quoting from a book that we studied in Pastoral Care. And the author, Carrie Doring, says, empathy involves two simultaneous and opposite relational skills. One, making connection with another person by experiencing what it's like to be that other person. And two, maintaining separation from the other person by being aware of one's own feelings and thoughts. Empathy is a balancing act. I had to learn that in counseling because if you don't, you become enmeshed, and that doesn't help the other person at all, and it's very worrisome to yourself. One of the ways I remain empathetic is to avoid taking in any agenda of my own when I visit. I have to let them be them and me just be with them. Everyone has different needs. Sometimes they just want relief from being alone. Sometimes they just need to relate to someone who's not going to come in and then dash out of the room. Sometimes sharing a common activity or needing to talk about the past, losses, jobs they've had, or pride in their families. It doesn't take long to discover an individual's needs with careful listening. One woman I met loved to talk about her horses, and she would point out various photographs of her and her horses. And with some people, you have that conversation over and over again, and it's fine. You be with them where they are. One man liked to talk about his past work life and inventions he had made. And again, he talked about that a lot, and that's okay. One lady and I talked about books. Oh my goodness, we talked about books. And sometimes I would read to her, and she really enjoyed that. I did that with a number of people, and I let them choose what they wanted me to read. Another man talked about music, art, and his travels. And one lady in her 90s would play the piano, and we would sing together. It was wonderful. I miss them because I haven't been able to walk very far. So I'm hoping that I can get back to that. It was a really good thing. I bet there are people in here who could do this work beautifully. So if you want to know more about it, just talk to Steve or me or Pastor Walter. Thank you very much.
Hi. Hey, you look good this morning. It's nice to be here. Pastoral care, there's a lot I could say, you know. Everybody has problems sometimes, you know. But, well, let's start with an easy one. Sometimes it's easy. You reach out to the right person and, like, you know, there's this lady in Canton. This is a true story, and she had a newborn at home, and all of a sudden she realized that she looked at the kid, and its scalp had broken out in all these red spots. And this kid's like 10 days old. So she did the right thing. She called a doctor. She called the pediatrician. he had to ask her to bring the baby in, which he kind of didn't want to do because there are all these kids in other sizes at home. Little thing, she bundles up all the kids, puts them all in the van, hauls them all to the doctor's office, gets them all undressed, gets the baby in the examining room, and the doctor looked at it and said, oh, one of the other kids had taken a red felt tip pen and kind of going over the baby. Okay, problem solved. They went, huh? Yeah. Now, okay, that's the easy one. Sometimes it's not so easy. A lot of times it's not so easy. But, people do have problems, and it's good to reach out. Myself, I look back, and I haven't always been the best when it comes to reaching out for problems. It can be tough. I can take care of this myself. It's best if I work. Reaching out is good. Reaching out is good. 45% of the people with clinical depression never reach out and get counseling. It's, oh no, not me, They're afraid. And then people might think people might think less of me, But who in this congregation is going to judge you? Come on, you hear somebody's having a bad time. You don't think less of them. Somebody's reaching out for help. Good for them, Everybody's reaching out for help these days. It's good. It's almost a fad going to a clinic for drug rehab. Not me, but anyway. But don't be afraid to reach out. Just come up and talk to us. It can be that simple. It can be that simple. About problems, large or small. And sometimes problems are pretty small, but they just give you some trouble. Just come up and talk. Yeah, and they've said a lot about listening, and that's so important to us. But, talking is such a good thing for when a person has problems, and I've experienced this personally, You got all these ideas in your head, and you just sit down and tell somebody about it. It can be very healing just in itself. Very, very healing. And so to put yourself in that situation, and a lot of these problems, some of them are transient, grief, Some people get so out of sorts they can't. It's just hard to manage when you're really in the middle of grieving, when you're really in the middle of a problem. You sit down and talk to somebody and things get a little more clear, and sometimes we can make suggestions about who's the best person to seek help from, Although I've seen people who have these crises, really bad things are going around, but they're not so mixed up. They're on top of it. They know it, they know what problems they're dealing with. They're very, very clear about it. So that's good too. That sort of thing comes up. Okay? So don't be afraid to just come up and talk to us. Reach out one way or another. There's different ways. Tell Karen or Walt or somebody that you'd like to talk about something. Okay? Don't make it into such a big deal. Okay? What else can I say? This pastoral care stuff, I have received a lot more from this than I have given. Helping people, it's been a wonderful, wonderful thing. Okay? Enough said. Thank you.
How many of you, when you were young, had that moment where you're at the dinner table and you don't like the vegetable? And somebody at the table says, you need to eat that because there are kids starving in, name another country. Don't you love it when people minimize your problem by talking about a bigger one? Here's the thing. That vegetable really turns my stomach. And it's bad for me. Yeah, somebody is going to have a worse problem. But here's the thing, it's not a competition. If it's painful for you, it's painful. And it's worth talking about. Pastoral care. I lost a partner. That's huge. Yeah, I want you to come. pastoral care. I just turned 30 and I don't know what I'm doing with my life. That's a huge problem. Yeah, let's talk about that. Pastoral care. My older son keeps taking the felt tip marker to the baby. It's a little funny, but you want to talk about it, and it's important to you. The thing about pastoral care, the power is in the listening in part, but the other part is that you get the talking stick. You get to say what is important. You get to talk about what is heavy on your heart, and the other person does not minimize it. The other person does not one-up you. The other person does not judge you. The other person listens and loves you with the empathy. Part of the power in pastoral care is you can just talk and you will be heard. How many of you don't want your problems fixed? You just want them heard. It's a lot of us. It's a lot of us. And so I'm going to challenge some of you right now. I'm going to encourage Cherrill, if you would be up here and over here. And Steve, if you want to come over here to this chair. And I'm going to be back here. And for 5 minutes, the three of us are going to sit. And if there is something that is on your mind, you want to be heard for just a little bit, we will listen. Sharon is already taking the cue, knowing she's going to play some noodle music while we're doing that. I don't care what your problem is. I don't care if it is, in your opinion, big or small. None of us do. We just want to listen. And I will turn off my microphone so nobody else hears what your problem is if you want to come to my station. But we're going to do this for 5 minutes. And if you want to come up, please do. And if you want to just sit and listen, I encourage you to do the same. But this is our listening practice. This is our time. This is your time. Let us begin. So I'm going to speak over here because there's important work going on. And I'm going to dismiss us because there are some people who have some place they want to be later on this afternoon, this early morning. Please continue your conversations over here. If you're somebody who is not comfortable doing something like this in public, and I realize that's probably a lot of us, our pastoral care team sets up appointments and would love to talk with you. And, you know, most of you know these people. They're pretty wonderful. So don't be afraid to reach out. And I would be glad to do the same thing, because I love to connect with all of you. I am going to extinguish our chalice. Actually, if you can, Laura, who is not Tim, will extinguish our chalice. And I'm going to read what we had for our chalice lighting again, because I think it really hits home. If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life from aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin into his nest again, I shall not live in vain. Beloveds, go out, listen hard, love each other. May it be so.